Hello, and welcome back to the Authentic Creative, expanding our capacity to feel good. I'm excited because we have a guest who's returning, and if you haven't already listened to her that's a good word, previous episode, Heidi Stevens and I had an incredible conversation. I feel like we've had several because you've been on a couple panels. It's like Heidi just keeps getting drawn back to the authentic creative. So she is a visionary mentor, a homesteader, and domestic CEO who teaches the topics of divine feminine leadership, wealth energetics, and microdosing psychedelics. She holds a master's in spiritual psychology with an emphasis in health, healing, and consciousness, and over the last decade has worked with thousands of women, helping them awaken to their potential through retreats, online programs, and intimate coaching containers. Heidi guides women on how to work with plant medicine to regulate their nervous systems, expand their capacity to receive. That's why she's here, and become portals of abundance for themselves and their families. I'm very excited to talk about all of this. Heidi, I know that you would love to talk about allowing the divine feminine to lead, microdosing, plant medicine, and trusting this new frequency that is raining down on all of us, as you say. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
start with let's start with how are you doing today? And then I have some questions lined up for you.
yeah. I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here again. It feels like new iteration, right? It's just like we're all evolving, and I'm just happy to be here with you. Thank you. I'm doing
Thank
great today.
thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited and delighted. So, what does it mean to you, Heidi, to allow the divine feminine to lead? Because we hear a lot about this and leaning into our divine feminine, and I think that people can make assumptions about what this means and sort of kind of gather what it means, but what is this? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer that question, but can I ask you the question
Yeah.
first? Like, what does it mean to you? Like, what
Yeah.
comes up in you when you ask that question?
I love being in my feminine. And then when you add the word divine, so I think of being in my feminine as the flowy energy, the ease, the surrender, the letting go, the feeling supported and held by Mother Earth
Hmm.
and by masculine containers of whatever that is. It doesn't even have to be a man holding the masculine, but there is a container there, a safe container there. And whether that's in a partnership where I feel really safe with my husband and I know there's a container there where I can be in my feminine, or whether that's in a container with other women where there's women or a woman holding that container.
Hmm.
And then just in our daily life, like trusting God, trusting universe, trusting
Yep.
source, trusting my life. And then the divine aspect is a continuation of what I'm saying is like, for me, it's like that connecting to something outside of ourselves, to divine energy, to divinity, to source energy, to our sovereignty, to our knowing, to our mastership. So it's really having that connection outside of just the persona, the personality, the 3D world.
Beautiful. Oh, so beautifully put and so well said.
Thank
The
you.
only thing that I would tweak for myself is that it's actually not something outside of us. While yes, it's the highest version of us. Divine feminine to me is simply being spirit led, being led by God, universe, love, heart centered, whatever it is that we want to call it. We all have different names. And the reason why I really appreciate and attune and can hear the words divine feminine is because I do think and feel that there is this deep feminine energy, this goddess energy that is rising right now. It's like this age of Aquarius, it is like up and we're all feeling it to whatever degree. And it's like, what's going on right now? Like what's happening? And so it's like this feminine goddess um energy that is coming through and we're remembering like
Mhm.
we as women are remembering whether or not you believe in past lives or your ancestors. Like there is a remembrance of our power, there's a remembrance of the high priestess that is so innately in our DNA, it is in our cells. And so we're starting to like feel it. And for most of us in the past, in past lives, a lot of us in this life, it actually wasn't safe to be in that power. And so we're having to remember that in this lifetime, it is safe. We're having to recode and reheal and really just integrate that it's safe to be in these humans' bodies. It's safe to be in our power. It's safe to really be the oracle, the goddess, the knowing, the healer, and that it's like our time. Like it's really our time. And so for me, that really anchoring into that spirit led path and being led by that instead of having my own ideas of what I think should happen and pushing my way forward and really just allow we all hear it, but it's one thing to actually embody it, to actually truly relax in and listen and receive and wait and move from that playful place and not the forced place. And so I think a lot of us are being called forward right now to live from that place, and something I'm really excited to just dive into.
It's very interesting to me to witness and observe the process that I oscillate between of the sort of structure I was talking about of the masculine and the planning and the organizing and the strategizing kind of energies to the surrender in, for example, when I'm in breath work, you know, I just did a breathwork session just now, and the crying and the opening up and the cracking open of the heart every single time, and this can happen through microdosing, the opening of the heart, every single time that I open my heart, that I surrender, that I allow the divine feminine to lead,
Mhm.
magic and miracles always occur. It is almost like math, like clockwork. It is
Yeah,
like, it blows my mind every single time because I
yeah.
come out of that session that I gave myself, and all of a sudden there's three answers in my inbox of things that I've been praying for that I was struggling with all day yesterday because I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, Einstein, I think, was the one that said that we can't find the solution from the same frequency that we created the problem in. And that's where our mind and our ego is all day long, which there is a place for it. It's not that we're trying to destroy our ego. We're not trying to, dismantle it. We're just trying to put it in its place. And so, we have been in a world that is very masculine dominated, and it's the patriarchy and says that it should be done a certain way and says that we should be working certain hours and yada, yada, yada. And like, there's just like this rebellion in so many of us going, there has to be another way. And for me personally, it was like decades of knowing that there was a different way and flirting with it and feeling into it and dancing with it and testing it. And ultimately, just getting really, really, really sick of feeling burned out and my adrenals fatigued and exhausted. And it's like, even though I knew that there was a different way and I was like flirting with it, I wasn't actually just allowing myself to fully surrender in it. And so, my story is that I actually had to just cocoon and really take a step back from my business, from a lot of the outside world, and not that doesn't have to be everyone's story, but it was mine. In order to really recalibrate, to deeply go inward. It also for me took, you know, communing with plant medicine to break down some of those control mechanisms that I had so wired and so locked in. And there was a good reason. Like I have built a very quote unquote successful life. I have built a life that a lot of people from the outside, would just give everything for. And I am so blessed and so grateful for it. And also, the way in which I was approaching it and the way that I was going after and forcing and being obsessed with my to-do list and, how many likes do I get and what is my launch and how do I get 60 women in this program and, can I make it a $500,000 launch? Like it's not that I was doing anything like that was wrong or bad. Like it was
Mm.
beautiful content, but the place that it was coming from was still that like yearning for more and like not enoughness.
Yeah.
And it's like enough is enough. Like I
Mhm.
cannot do this any longer. And so it just took a real step back, and I'm grateful to say that after it's been just over a year of going within and it wasn't that I wasn't doing anything. I was, on podcasts and doing speaking things here and there.
Yeah.
Um, but really having the willingness to pause and create that space. Um, and now I've gotten the green light, like, and it's spirit led. Like I've gotten the green light to say, okay, it is time to start talking about these concepts. And it's like I'm almost in this like new body of like not only myself but a new body of work, and it's testing my edges. I'm like, oh my god, have I lost my mind? Oh my goodness, how crazy do I sound? Oh wow, this one's really out there. Oh my god, people are going to think that I'm on so many mushrooms. Like I've
Mm.
really lost my mind here. And the truth is that I haven't. The truth is that my marriage is better than it has ever been, and we went through a really rocky period this last year. The truth is that my
Congratulations,
kids,
Heidi.
thank you. My kids' nervous systems are like they're regulated. Like my little kids, they're like their tanks are full. My tank is full. I'm giving from a place of overflow instead of like trying to like fill something up, And it's just I could like cry with like
Yes.
the amount of gratitude that I have, and also knowing that it doesn't just stay. I mean, it's like I have to actively work at this and ground in this new frequency consistently in order to keep it, because left to my own devices, I'm going to go back to my old ways of being. And so it's like, okay, yep, this is the new way. And I'm moving slow and I'm not jumping into things. And it's like, whew, constant deep breath, as you know all too well, my love.
Yeah, that you started answering the question that was right there in front of me, which was as you're starting to move into this fresh new beginning of embodying this slowness and this full tank process of coming from overflow, and you start to notice those moments where you're like, ooh, that's old Heidi. Ooh, that's old strategy. Oh, that's old coping mechanism. That's old protection. What is that process like for you to kind of observe it, notice it, bring yourself back? What is that process so that people that are starting to move into this new way of being and that are wanting to follow this path can start to be gentle with themselves in and what are some tools or practices that they can start to maneuver into like, oh wait, it can be easy, it can be flowing, it can be safe and
Yeah.
gentle. Like, how do we get
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it's such a good question. It happened just last week. So as these kind of new things are birthing within me, and again, it's specifically for me right now around business because I've been just cocooned and I've been like integrating and processing and working on my marriage and my kids and my home and all these things. And now it's like, okay, now I'm testing a new edge with business. And so, I feel these like offers starting to birth through and these new ideas and this new content. And so, my mind only knows the way that it's been done up until this point, which is like figure it out, make it happen, launch the thing, do the thing, bup, 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 bup. And it's like what I witnessed. So I talk a lot about being a third party neutral observer, right? Where we're like can kind of zoom out of our life and like look at ourselves and go, wait, how am I reacting to this instead of being in the reaction? What's my response? So I noticed myself going into my old ways of being. And what that looked like for me was like a spin. I was like getting kind of heady. I was saying things like, I just need to figure this out. If
Mm.
I just figured out like the 3-step process, or is this an 8-week course or a 6-month program, or what's the price point? Like, la 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 la, right? Like drive
Yeah.
ourselves insane with all these questions.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, I caught myself after just about 2 days of this and said, okay, I know this is really what you want right now, but this is not the way that you're going to get it. I'm just going to lay it down
Mm.
and I'm going to choose to not figure it out. And I'm going to do the things that I know really bring me back. And so for me personally, this has to be more than just like going and sitting meditation for 20 minutes. Like, I really have to lay it down. And so for me, it looked like going on, I don't think I went on, like an hour and a half walk. I took a microdose, which is a very subperceptual plant medicine. It helps me get back into my body and I get embodied. Go into my garden. So get into nature, breathe,
Yeah.
settle, focus on my kids. When I'm in that head spin, I start noticing that even when I pick up my kids from school, I'm on my phone, I'm texting, I'm looking at my Instagram.
Mm.
How many likes did I get on that one? How many
Mm.
people comment on that one? Like, I'm so obsessed with what everything is happening, like outside of myself.
Yes.
So I think one afternoon, maybe I didn't turn my phone off, but I went and I put it in my bathroom while I was making dinner, and I said, okay, it's 4 o'clock. I'm just going to focus on my kids until 8 o'clock tonight and like not check my phone, which is
Yeah.
a lot of restraint, but it's like so, it's so simple, but it's like really having the self discipline
Hmm.
to put down that monkey mind
Yeah.
and doing whatever we need to do to get back embodied. And so, it takes me a day. Like, yeah. So it's like doing those things that I know that I need to do, and being willing to do them until I'm grounded again and not going back and going, okay, now what is it? Now I did 20-minute meditation. Okay, I should have the answers. Because there's also just so much chatter around there. Like, I downloaded this and I channeled this and I did this. It's like, great. That's amazing. Like, good for you. And also, like, it takes what it takes. Like, it took me a freaking year of being
Mm.
quiet, and I'm
Mm.
somebody that moves fast. Okay. So it's like, let's all just have some grace with
Yeah. Yeah.
ourselves and some gentleness that we have been so conditioned
Right.
to have the answers, to have it all together, to look the part. And it's like you just get to be messy. Like, it's okay.
Heidi, I realize over and over that I have a workaholism addiction,
Yeah.
and a hypervigilance for sure is my number one saboteur. And I don't know if you relate to either of those, but I notice that when I'm on vacation, I still will find a way to be working a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And to the point where we were in London last summer and I left because you said setting down the phone, it reminded me, I left my phone in the Heathrow airport in a bathroom stall. And I remember setting it down and just being like, I'm so done.
Mm,
And
mm,
then realizing, of course, that I had left it there because it was like this moment of exhaustion,
mhm,
and running back, and the flight was boarding. And they were like, you have to get on the flight. You can't keep looking for your phone.
mhm,
And my
mhm,
husband was like, I can't believe you lost your
mm.
new phone. And I was like, dude, I feel so free right now. And, it's just interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
The ego is also like really sneaky. So, what I mean by that is like, I think it's like it's like very seductive to be like, well, I'm being of service and I'm doing all these amazing things in the world and I'm teaching XYZ, and therefore like it's okay if I need to. I used to tell my husband that. I was like, whatever, babe, I'm working and I like need to be on my phone, and like that's why I'm not present in the car ride. And it's like, sure, okay, like maybe there's a time and place for that, but A mentor of mine recently told me something. She's like, there's no being of service to anyone except for yourself. And we've got to all get really honest with ourselves that we're doing this because it lights us up. And to the degree that it's taking us out of our actual everyday life, whatever it is that we're quote unquote doing in the world, we're actually not present and we're not grounded and we're doing it for other reasons.
Mm.
And so I think there's what just came forward when you were sharing was like this willingness to unravel.
Yeah.
And, I know for myself, I didn't even really know what that meant because I'm so good at having my shit so together.
Hmm.
And it's just an expectation that not only I have of myself, but I've conditioned my kids to, mommy, 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 mommy. Like I'm emotionally regulated and I'm like quote unquote on all the time. And I realized this past year that I've conditioned my husband to lean on me so much and just to like have it together. And it's like, wait,
Wow.
when do I get to have permission to actually just not be okay?
Right.
Like, and what does that even look like?
Right.
And me even just starting to like the willingness that I had to just go, actually, I'm not okay in this moment. Like, I need space. I need a break from sex. I need a
Mm.
pause. Like, I need a minute. Watching my husband's reaction to me just claiming that I was not okay for a minute, like the kind of the onion or whatever, like whatever that
Hmm.
blew up between, I was like, okay, there's some dynamics here that are not working. We're all so reliant, which again is my 100%. This is my doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the fact that I don't have the space to unravel, and I don't like, this isn't something we all of us have this. Like we're go go go. We're moms. We think we have to have it together all the time. And yeah, it's courageous to just be willing to go, fuck, like I don't know. Like, what do I really want? What am I
Mm.
really doing?
Mm.
How am I going to really fill up my own tank first so that everyone can actually put on, so that I can actually put on people's oxygen masks, and that my tank is filled first. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that answered your question, but
It's
that's
no,
just,
it's great. It's you know what it is it's you revealing your own vulnerability because I'm saying, here's my weakness, here's what I'm unraveling, and you're saying, here's what I'm unraveling, and
yeah,
they're very similar.
yeah,
And what I've started to do is my first day of my period is that's a day where I'm just going to be in bed mostly, and I'm not going to be trying to figure anything out for the most part. And I say that, but I'm a liar because I was trying to figure shit out. But it is a day where I've started to just honor it as opposed to put on a cape and strap a hot water bottle to my belly and just keep going. That is a day of I'm not gonna do too much. That,
yeah,
that first and sort of the second day too.
that's beautiful. It's like such a gift to give yourself, and it's also so needed. And one of the things that I noticed with myself and then with others is that just to kind of shift the conversation a little bit into the plant medicine,
Yeah.
that's a big tool that I've used this past year, is that while at first, we can feel energized. So I'm specifically talking about microdosing. There's this like, oof, like, okay, I have more energy and maybe I have more focus and like I'm feeling really good. And at least for me, and now I'm starting to notice a pattern with others, is that for some people it's a couple weeks, for some people it's a couple months. For me, it wasn't until like 8 or 9 months that I actually started real. So it's like what it does is it brings us actually back into homeostasis and gets us more embodied, like I'm talking about, and healing from the inside out. And all of a sudden I woke up one day and I was like, I am so exhausted.
Mm.
Like I am so tired. and
Mm.
and I actually just need rest. And I think sometimes it can sound like, oh, Heidi's like laying around her bed all day. It's like, no, I've got a family. I've got a husband has businesses. We've got all the things that we are doing. But it was like every moment or throughout the week, I would put these like 2 or 3 hour chunks on my calendar, like multiple times a week of like,
Mhm.
Heidi's in my room. I'm not with my phone. Actually, I'm lying because I would be on my phone, but what I started doing was a yoga nidra meditation. And I just love that practice of literally laying down and cocooning. And it was like, oh, I don't have to actually do anything. I can just listen to this 20-minute or even 2 hour, ringtones and all these. I was just like, oh, this is like the best, like soothing, like it's like serenading me. It was like so juicy, like way better than a nap could ever be because it really helped me turn my mind off, as does breath work.
Yeah.
But so it's just like finding these tools and practices along the way and letting myself actually rest and relax and lean into a new way of being is really what it is, a new way of being.
Yeah. Yeah. So with microdosing, what I noticed with like 0.15
Hmm.
was that I really don't feel like I can fully enjoy it. Enjoy, I mean, maybe that's not the point, but like doing work or being on my computer and microdosing for me hasn't really worked.
Hmm.
So I'm curious how you address that.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, first of all, I would say so what I'm hearing you say is that it wasn't sub-perceptual. You were very like aware of the being on a microdose. Is that right?
Yeah, it's harder for me to focus. And usually I like to, well, I'll say this, with 0.15, it's not actually. I don't always notice it. And so then I like up the dose and
Hmm.
then I do notice it and then I'm like, well, I can't do work right now because this is just going to make me nauseous. Like I need to be in nature. I need to be just
Yep.
slowing down and like connecting.
Yep. So a few things. So first and foremost, I would suggest being on a practice and committing to do it over a certain period of time.
Hmm.
So there's a few different protocols, 1 day off, 1 day on, 4 days on, 3 days off, right? There's all these different protocols depending on what you need, how your work schedule is that you can do. Secondly, it's the dosing. And so given that that was your initial response, I would suggest two things. Either one, take it and then go move. So take it and make sure to do it, time it in your day that you're going out into nature for an hour and a half, that you're going
Mm.
into a workout, that you're taking it and then you're doing breath work. Like it's moving energy. And because you're wanting to be in nature, like that's actually, like that's telling you something. Like it's like, yes, like go be in nature if that's what actually you're desiring. So I would set it up. And so maybe for you, you could use a protocol that's like 1 day on, 2 days off, 1 day on, 2 days off, and know, okay, those 1 days on, I might be a little bit less productive, which you could time it so that could be a Friday and a Tuesday. And I'm going to take it in the morning. I'm going to go walk for an hour. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do breath work. I'm going to have a good 2 hour period post taking my microdose so that I can feel like I'm a little bit more focused throughout the day. And then the other thing is that 0.15 is actually a decent amount.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I am now taking 25 milligrams like 3 days a week, which 25 milligrams is like a fifth of like 0.15.
Wow.
Yeah, like I am taking, so because you're sensitive, the
Hmm.
more sensitive you are, the more you feel. And the beauty with psilocybin is that this isn't something that you just take more and more and more of over time. As you become more regulated and more sensitive and more healed and more just, aligned, you actually need significantly less.
Interesting.
So I would suggest pulling back and taking less and then incorporating it in with movement, with breath. And then just noticing, noticing how if you're like, again, it's so subtle, but like you might find like, oh yeah, on those days that I microdose and maybe the day after, I wasn't in like my head as much, or I wasn't trying to figure this thing out, or I wasn't feeling this need to push. Like I could just kind of relax into some of this work and what I'm wanting to create.
Yeah, you know what it is that when I was microdosing and playing around with different amounts, is I was wanting to feel the feeling of being in a macrodose, but at a smaller level. And really, that's not. Because I see you nodding. Yeah, it's like,
No.
no.
Yeah, no, no, no. So yeah, so this is I'm like, so I love this conversation so much because I'm getting so excited about the education piece
Yeah.
of macrodosing and microdosing plant medicine. You know, we hear so much about it. And a lot of us that have, experienced macrodosing and experienced the benefits of plant medicine, there's just such a kind of like a reorientation to the microdosing. It's really kind of like two different experiences. And while the microdose can support somebody's system in readying for a macrodose, so if somebody is wanting to macrodose but they're feeling nervous, they're just not quite sure, then I highly suggest them starting a microdosing protocol for 16 to 90 days prior to their macrodose. And then the other thing that it can do, it can really help integrate the macrodose experience. So
Mm.
you would wait probably 2 to 3 weeks after your macrodose, really like letting your system kind of come back to equilibrium, coming back to like your set point. And as we know, macrodose experiences can be quite revealing and very impactful and also challenging to integrate. So while having a coach or support system or friend or whatever is really supportive, so is the microdosing experience on the other side to just again soften those edges.
Hmm.
But when you're starting a microdose protocol, you really want it to be a protocol. So you want to commit to a certain period of time, probably somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks, and then don't change anything for 2 to 3 weeks unless you know for sure that it's too much. Then it's like, okay, like this is too, I'm not able to, you know, 0.15, like you should be able to drive, you're with your kids, like you're not seeing double, you're not seeing two
Right.
heads, there's nothing,
Right.
right? But the fact that you're like, oh, I'm just feeling like ungrounded, or not able to focus. You didn't use the words ungrounded, but not able to focus, I would definitely lessen the amount. And then, yeah, have very, very, very different expectations. You are not
I think
in a
that's the
macro
key.
dose, you are
Yeah.
microdosing. And you're really, well, the beauty with microdosing is that you're integrating in real time. Like it's
Mm.
not like you're getting all these downloads in the microdose experience and then you're like, "Wait, what do I do with all of these?" You're embodying the work as like I personally notice, "Oh, I was just a lot more patient with my son this today."
Hmm.
Or like, I just had like more capacity to like respond to my husband, or I
Yes.
am working and like instead of coming from up here and trying to, it's kind of like flowing, it's
Mm.
kind of like flowing. And then I can play around with like, oh, if I'm not having to be at my computer and I'm really just in a brainstorm session, maybe I'll take 200 milligrams, which would be like zero point 0.2. But on a weekly basis right now, I take it somewhere between 3 and 4 times a week, and I'm taking somewhere between 25 and 50 milligrams. So that'd be like point like 0.25.
So do you even notice that you've taken it?
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very,
I think
very,
that was the
very
thing for me
subtle.
was I got
Yeah.
confused by that. I was like, well, if I can't feel 0.15, then I should up it, and then it becomes too much. But what you were saying about being with your kids is you were reminding me that the last time I microdosed, I was like, let's go in the woods with my oldest son. And it was
Yeah.
fantastic to
Yeah.
just be there, to just be. You know what that is it's so obvious, but I'm just noticing it's the ability to be is what it gives you.
Presence,
Yeah.
embodiment.
Like to fully
Yeah.
be in the moment with
Yeah.
and it sort of for me like does heighten the senses a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I'll notice, oh God, it's just like, you know, sky looks a little bit bluer. Or my husband will come back. He'll maybe do a little tiny microdose and then golf, and he'll come back and he'll go, God, it was just so gorgeous out there. So it's like you appreciate and you notice these subtleties. But I would encourage you to, yeah, take less and then do a little protocol. Like get it in your system because microdosing is not like take one and then don't take it for 3 weeks. It's like actually kind of having the medicine work in your system
Mhm.
consistently over time. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I just want to say that it's not like taking a drug, right? It is taking a piece of the most wisest form of the earth, that something that grows from the earth that has so much wisdom. It is like
Yeah.
connecting you back to earth's wisdom.
Yeah, it's coming from deep, deep, deep ancestral roots. Like this is actually specifically if we're talking about psilocybin, aka magic mushrooms. This is something that's been growing from Mother Earth for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And indigenous cultures have had such deep resonance and worked with this medicine forever. And they were doing a lot of studies on this in the 50s and the 60s on how this works with not only trauma, but, brain health and intimacy and relationships and people's overall well being. And then in the 70s, it was completely all shut down. All of the studies were shut down by the Nixon administration for many reasons. People were really starting to think for themselves around that Vietnam War time, and there's been a real renaissance, which is so beautiful, and people are starting to really awaken, and there just needs to be some re-education and um, it's like we were all indoctrinated. Like I grew up in the 80s and I literally can remember Nancy Reagan breaking an egg like over the frying pan in the commercial. And it was
Yeah. This
like,
is your
this is
brain
your
on
brain.
drugs.
This is your brain on drugs.
Any
Like I
questions?
literally remember that like so vividly. And I
Oh,
was
me
just like,
too.
I'm never doing drugs, and it's,
Yes.
yeah,
And the
so it's like,
DARE programs, the cops would come to
oh
school and
my
talk about how to
God.
say no in various ways. And
Yeah.
yes.
And so it's like I remember when, this woman I was working with like sent me the microdose. I was like, oh my God, I'm being so bad right now. Like it's like the bad girl, like, oh, and so
Yep.
it's like, and it's just like a re like introduction to how this potential and how it can actually work with us. I mean, even friends now, they're like, "Oh, I thought I would just use, I thought microdosing was only used if I was on an SSRI or if I was on anxiety medication or depression medication. Like I didn't know that I could actually use this for just creativity and support and overall well-being." So look, there's a lot of information out there. It's very like of the zeitgeist right now. And so again, my mind, I could easily say, oh, there's tons of people doing this. Like I don't need to be one more. And yet the medicine's really calling me. Like it's really, really, really supported my system and quite frankly, my whole family unit over the past, my kids aren't taking it, but like me calming my nervous system down has
I've
really reorganized like my whole family and kind of just want to like shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I love that. I love the you being the central calm space and then everybody ripples out from that with their co-regulating with you. That's so beautiful. And that's really what we can do for the world is being that calm center point in our homes. That is the microcosm of the world, right? And then it's like we can be that calm center point for our communities. I have a question for you. I'm curious about when my husband has known that I'm microdosing, he will like take me less seriously. He'll be
Mm.
like,
Hmm.
"Oh, okay, you're acting like that, or you're sensitive
Hmm.
because da da da." And so I
Hmm.
almost like don't want to tell
Hmm.
him
Hmm.
when I'm microdosing because I feel like he responds and reacts to me differently because he knows and he thinks that I'm going to be different and therefore he's different. It's that whole kind of
Hmm.
interesting dance.
Hmm.
So I guess the question is with your partner,
Hmm.
if they're not microdosing, and it's not that he has a judgment against it in general, but what are maybe some thoughts on would you share with your partner? How would you work with that?
I would lovingly invite you in to look at that projection because I would
Oh,
guess that there's possibly some part of you that's wondering am I being,
Ah,
am I like have my head in the clouds right now? Am I like being like too goofy or silly? Am I not taking myself seriously? I know that thought process well. I'm very familiar with what you're sharing, and so it's a valid question. Like, do I tell my husband? Do I not tell my husband? But really, again, it all starts with where you're at. And
mhm,
so if you are actually embodied, and that actually also is maybe a clue that it is like affecting you like too much because this the support of microdosing is really to feel that much more grounded. Like I feel like so rooted when I am in my practice that it's like I don't give two shits what Kenny's saying to me. Like I am so clear on like what who I am right now. And to be, just to be like I went into his office the other day and I had taken a microdose and I was just like really joyful and he was not. Like he was in
sure.
his like I think he had a migraine headache and I was like, "Oh my," I just wanted to giggle and laugh with him and he was like so not feeling it. And so the first thought in my head was like, "Oh my God, I like took a microdose today." And then
Mm,
like similar to what you're sharing,
yes,
like, "Oh my
yes.
God, oh how am I being?" Like blah blah blah. And then my second thought was like, Heidi, look at yourself. Like you're so joyful right now. Like you're so playful. Like this is a really nice place to be.
Yeah,
He's just not able to meet you in this moment. So
yeah,
take a breath, meet him where he's at, love on him, ask him if he needs anything, and then let him be because he's doing his own thing and you go do your own thing and go for a walk and come back and get your work done, go pick up the kids and like I want to be overflowing with joy all
yeah,
the time. And if he's questioning where's that coming from, I'm going to be like, come join the party, babe. Like, like come on in. Like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, that's
That's a beautiful example. Yeah, that, and it's exactly what I'm talking about. So you feel
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just
Yeah.
really like owning the integration of the medicine. Like this is actually taking me to places that I want to be. And then whatever's being reflected in my different relationships around that, like I get to look at.
Yeah, and it's perfect wisdom. As soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
projections, the part of yourself that still thinks you're being a bad girl or you're being silly or you're too happy or
Yeah.
you're in too much ease.
Yeah.
And
I
how could that be okay and all of it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and just to like bring it back around to even where we started this
Yep.
conversation around, working with the divine feminine and the new quote unquote new frequencies that are coming in, if you will. I've been feeling that a lot recently. Like w- plant medicine aside, I've been like what world am I in right now? I, like what's happening? Like I'm feeling so much better and like elevated and grounded. And sometimes I feel like my mind is just kind of like there's part of my mind that's in a little bit of like dissonance
Hmm.
or like trying to like rewire and like
Calibrate. Yeah.
recalibrate, thank you, to like this new way. And it's like how much can I receive? Like
Mm.
how good can I feel? Like this is what we're all saying that we want.
Hmm.
Like it's here. Can we actually like breathe it in and take it in? So yeah, it's quite the journey we're on, my love, isn't it? My gosh.
Expanding our capacity to receive, very similar to expanding our capacity to feel good. It's really the same thing.
It is the same thing.
And the reason it's my work in particular is because I understand the opposite.
Yeah.
I really understand the contraction. So it is my work for myself. I'm my first client. And then from there, it's how can I inspire others to, like you said, like come play, come be in this energy. Come
Yeah.
join me here.
And what I would offer to you is that you actually don't have to do anything to invite them to come play. Like
Mm.
that's the irony is like you being you and you being in that frequency of I am enough, whether or not anyone comes to play. That is the medicine. And there can be a loneliness to it. And so it's also like re-alchemizing that inside of ourselves that there are moments where as we're quote unquote up leveling or it can feel lonely. And what I also know to be true is that when you're at these new set points, you start magnetizing the people to play. So it's actually less inspiring and less invitation and more simply rooting in and being and attracting. Like when we say attracting with ease, that's all that it is. And I know our minds want to go, well, how are they going to come? And what do I need to do to get them? And what does it need to look like? And again, that's the old way.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a new way. It's a new way. And we don't have a lot of models yet to be shown how this divine frequency, whatever you want to call it, energy, like really works. There's some, but it's like there's not a ton. But the more that each of us say yes to it, as you and I are doing, it's like the more that we're all just like yes, 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 yes. It's going to become like the norm, and we're literally creating a new model right now. We're creating a new way and a new model. And what I'll share with you is that what's really exciting for me is that as all of this is starting to really integrate and come in, and I'm like talking about it, like just these are just like Voxers, like clients, friends, whatever, like the inner yes to this new way. It's like we're all yearning for it. We're so thirsty for this new way that we're all just like, oh my God, I just want to like drink it in because are you telling me that I can actually just relax and receive and work on myself? And that's all I need to do.
And yet, is there not aligned action, right? Like, we have to have some sort of like
So there
masculine structures where we take some action here and there.
so there is Siri, but the thing is that what I'm saying is that the action births from this frequency. So the action is actually easy.
Yeah.
Like it's not that you just sit here and lay back and everything is brought to you. And also, who's to say that it has to come through you?
Yeah.
Maybe the energy is actually going to come through our partners. Maybe our work is going to manifest and we're going to be able to swirl the energy and drop it right down into our partners. Like that's some goddess witchery magic right there. I'm here for that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
I've been doing that for the last
Yeah.
year, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
there's so much we could do a whole nother podcast episode on that, but it's like yes, but I even think the lined action in these spiritual communities has gotten a little turned around of like aligned action means taking all of this masculine action and set up the funnel and set up this and set up that. And it's quote unquote aligned action, but it's still like got this push energy of forcing people to come into our programs. I'm saying do this work. Like commune with yourself, drink it in, and whatever is like deeply inspired from that place, like that's the action.
Yeah. I don't have any funnels. I mean, I'm just talking about like we gotta pick up the phone and call the caterer for the retreat.
Yeah, you do. You do. You do have to pick up the yes, 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 yes.
Which I don't want to do. I'm like, could this just happen, please?
Mm. It's funny that you even say that because we had a retreat here at the house. It was 25 of my family members for my father-in-law's 90th birthday, and I had everything planned out. And 4 months in advance, the chef, the this, the that, and 4 days before the event, my chef canceled.
Oh,
And so I was like, oh, here we go. Okay, am I gonna have to jump into being chef and, hostess and all these things? And the long and the short of it is, guess what happened? My husband picked up the phone and called one of his friends who had a referral, who brought the chef and was like 100 times better than I think the chef that I had. I'm not
perfect.
saying that we don't
Perfect.
do anything. Look, I'm
Perfect.
running my family. I'm project manager. I'm driving my kids around. I'm recording podcasts. I'm here with you. Like, yes, we're taking action, and let it be so deeply spirit led. May it be so spirit led that the ease and the grace and the rest and the relaxation, the receivership that we are all yearning for and thirsty for, that our tanks are so filled up by taking all of that action. And may it
Yeah.
all be spiritually and led.
Yes. Yes. Like
Aho.
leave the martyr paradigm, the martyr role,
Yeah.
anything that feels remotely like that behind.
Yeah.
That's what we're stepping out of.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
we're stepping out of.
Yeah. Thank you, Heidi. This was
Thank
really
you for
fun.
having me. I so
You're so
appreciate it.
welcome.
Yeah, this is great.
I really enjoyed it. So, anything that you want people to feel into for you that you've got going on?
I've just got me going on over here. Come join me on Feet of the Grass. I've got the podcast. There's going to be some new offers coming in soon, taking women through this process that I'm talking about right now, really being led by the divine feminine, working with microdosing, allowing ourselves to be the domestic CEOs that we are and manifest both through ourselves and through our partners. And while that's working, if you feel called to microdose, hit me up. I'm happy to help you. Jump on a one-on-one call. But yeah, right now I'm just on Instagram at Heidi Stevens and on Feet on the Grass, doing my thing.
I love it. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you so much.
Guys, keep expanding your capacity to feel good, one breath at a time. Loving you.